Entry 50. I'm going to write what I gathered from yesterday's meeting here. Perhaps I should have written this in yesterday's entry, but it took time to gather my thoughts. I had a rather wild idea, even by my standards. No, actually. I think I will sleep on this idea for another day. I have a bad habit of being over-eager. I've sidestepped a lot of topics and let the reader down often, haven't I? Regarding my search for the path to heaven and other topics, well, today I will only record facts. The meeting played out as expected. Judgment and High Priestess have lost to the Joestar group, and even more bad news arrived. It seems that Muhammad Avdol, the master of Magician's Red, whom Jaegile and Whole Horse had supposedly eliminated, was still alive. More frustratingly, he is not alive by happenstance or by accident. It was the result of Joseph Joestar's tricky plan. Avdol was only pretending to have died at the behest of Jonathan's grandson, and I, unfortunately, was taken in by his plan. Because of that, they managed to reach Egypt. To think that Avdol pretended to be dead and secretly prepared a submarine. What a bizarre plan. High Priestess, to her credit, discovered this plan and destroyed the submarine, but she fell just short of retiring Jotaro for good. Instead, he defeated her, so said the report. As an aside, I've noticed something in myself that I've been ignoring. A part of myself that is calmly accepting the bad news. A part that is able to, in some way, take it as good news. I said that Joseph Joestar's plan was tricky, which makes it sound cute. But thinking it through, such tricks are based on deceit. And Jotaro Kujo, he's displayed great mercilessness by harming a woman to an irrecoverable state because she was his enemy. And Joseph too also beat the female stand user Empress without hesitation. These ungentlemanly actions would be completely unthinkable for Jonathan or George Joestar, or indeed any man of dignity, a century ago. So I can rest easy. Even these inheritors did not inherit all of Jonathan's metal. At some point, some of it, perhaps even most of it, was worn away. Then they are not worth fearing. Surely they will be eliminated by one of the 9 Egyptian gods, perhaps quite easily, such as by Andul alone. I am looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will organize my thoughts. Entry 51. The stand abilities of the 9 Egyptian gods, even the similar stands of the Darby brothers, are all unique. Yesterday I hypothesized about what would happen if they all attacked together, but depending on how their abilities are used, even one could very well have the fortitude to directly oppose me, Dio, and my stand. Among them, the one I most have my eye on is Boingo's Toth. Boingo is quite shy, or rather, he has a tendency to be distrustful of others. Since he only ever opens up to his elder brother, Oingo, it has been difficult even for me to question him. The stand ability, Toth, to the best that I can describe it, is predicting the future. The stand is in the form of a book. And within that book, the future appears in the form of crude drawings. Its weaknesses are that it may only predict the very near future, and it also does not have any attack power whatsoever, but this ability to predict is more than dangerous enough. Boingo told me it is impossible for the future to deviate from Toth's drawings. The predictions are absolutely 100% certain. That is what he said. For such a timid young boy who has no self-confidence regarding anything, to believe it with such conviction is revealing to its truth. More definitively, the stand has not made an incorrect prediction, as far as I know. This is what I thought when I first learned of Toth's ability. Will this serve a purpose? What purpose is there in knowing about an unalterable future in advance? If it's certain destiny, then knowing about it won't do anything, will it? And so on. Certainly it would be pleasant if a better, more desirable future was predicted. Then one may efficiently plot out a path to that future, knowing that effort is not useless. But if an undesirable future appeared in that book, what should one do? In the extreme case, what if it predicts one's own death? Then the most desirable future would be to avoid that future, but that cannot be done. Absolutely 100% certain. Unavoidable. If a tragedy is certain and unavoidable, then wouldn't one rather not know? To learn of that tragedy would be like knowing one's entire life from the moment one was born. All the effort or discipline in the world would not change it. It would all be meaningless. Birth becomes everything. If Boingo's stand predicted a future of his imminent death, what would he do? I thought about that a lot, and not in the distant past, but as recently as 2 days ago. And when I found the opportunity 2 days ago, I asked him. I asked Boingo if Toth predicted that he died, or even if it was not that, but some hopeless, sad future, such as the death of his big brother, just what did he intend to do? Perhaps this was a cruel question to ask a child, but I could not help but ask. If there was anything that could become even the slightest hint to attain heaven before the Joestars arrived, I had to ask. Boingo was cowering, would not meet my gaze, trembled, stuttered, but with an uncharacteristically strong will he said this. Lord Dio, even if you were faced with an unavoidable tragedy, if you know about it, then you can prepare yourself for it. Truly, words that did not sound like they came from a child. Because of the parents I grew up with, I matured fairly quickly. But I doubt I could have said something so audacious at Boingo's age. If you know the future, you can prepare yourself. If you can prepare yourself, that leads to happiness. In other words, does that not mean that heaven is the future? Knowing of a bad future is not despair, but rather hope, isn't it? If you know you are going to die tomorrow, as long as you are prepared for it, then you are happy, are you not? Preparedness eliminates despair. Then the future itself is heaven. That is the assumption. But for now, it remains an assumption. Boingo's stand ability is far from enough. Toth is not enough. Being prepared for only the smallest sliver of the future is not much better than waiting until it becomes the present. The amount of resolve one can have for the immediate future really is not very much. And that is not the resolve I want. There is a great difference in the preparedness one would have between a mild inconvenience and the death of a beloved. It depends very much on the situation, and without great resolve, I highly doubt one can reach heaven. It is not enough, so far, to say this is the way to heaven. Since I was inspired with this idea, maybe I have only turned this way and that, but never taken a step forward. Then what exactly is this notebook? Something like an account of my stagnation? This is ridiculous. Once again, I've been captured by irrelevancies. I, Dio, akin to an emperor, should not find myself so captured by improper thoughts. Let me reorder myself and those things that are necessary to attain heaven. The souls of 36 sinners or more. The 14 words. A friend I can trust from the bottom of my heart. And my stand. The stand of time. the world. Yes, it's all right. I am moving forward. I am making progress. With the passage of time, I am properly, firmly moving forward at an unwavering pace. No matter what I lack or what I have lost, that much is certain. That alone is something about which I have no doubt. I may have missed a chance, but this is good timing. Here I will write why the souls of 36 sinners are necessary. Before, I discussed them only as material for attaining heaven, but thanks to Boingo, I have decided to share my deeper thoughts for the sake of the future. Right at this moment, with some consideration and reason, I have formed my resolve. Of course, this resolve is still not nearly enough to go to heaven. Long ago, I discussed that the number of souls was fixed. It could not increase nor decrease. But what about the quality of a soul? What about the mass of an individual creature's soul? Let us say, for argument's sake, that a soul can be numerically signified as 10. 10 is the simplest numeric system for a human, or a vampire, to use. I presume the reason for that is because our bodies possess a total of 10 fingers between our two hands. Then it seems reasonable to use this number, 10, for my foundation as well. Daniel J. Darby can divide the souls he turned into chips, into even more chips, but the limit of that is 10 chips. When I learned that, I felt that my signifying souls with the number 10 was validated. But the problem was how those 10 chips are classified. Let us divide them into a black and white ratio. Let us give these souls ratios of goodness and evil. It would seem that most humans are balanced at a ratio of 5:5, but for a righteous man like Jonathan Joestar, those 10 chips would likely all be white. A 10:0 ratio favored towards goodness. My mother would be the same way, a 10:0 good person, a holy woman. And for me, or someone like Jack the Ripper, or any of the hag's son, Jay Guile, I am sure that the 10 chips would be pitch black. People with a 0-10 ratio. I am trying to collect 36 people with 10 black chips. That is a calculation even a child could do. 36 times 10, 360. That number represents a circle, a revolution, and also a clock. That is to say, with 36 souls, including mine, time completes a cycle. Yes. And further, more than 36 souls indicates more than one full revolution. Time will run in a full circuit. That is the process for attaining heaven. The guide. I write that as if I know everything there is to know about it, but at the present moment I must say it is incomplete. If my thinking is correct, in order to put this plan into practice, I require the courage to temporarily discard my stand. I require courage. The courage to discard my stand. My rotting stand will father and absorb the souls of 36 sinners. And from there, someone new will be born. And then the born being must be awoken. My trusted friend will utter the 14 words which represent intelligence. The friend must trust me. I must become a friend.